Hey everybody, Brett from AstartesGaming here, back with another episode of our RimWorld Rome Let's Play. As you can see, I've made some significant progress on the fort. Pretty much just grinding out the construction of the things that we set up in the last episode and previous episodes. So the palisade fortifications are nearly finished. We still need to kind of wrap up the two extreme ends of it here, and obviously we're going to need to move some stuff around there so that we can connect this and finish that off. So what we'll probably do is move the little farm areas outside the palisades, because the enemy is not going to attack rice plants. I don't even think that they can. They could throw Molotovs at it, but I don't know that I've ever seen an enemy pawn do that. Nor would it really be an issue, because we could just replant it. So I'm not that concerned about protecting our crops, at least insofar as, you know, defending them from raids. But anyways, aside from that, we've obviously got 3 bedrooms done, and conveniently for us, Konstantin and Loka decided to pair up, so they're a couple now, and they're going to be staying in this room. And not so fortunate for Aetius, but he is actually in a relationship with one of our prisoners, Gassia Gaba here. So they're a couple, but obviously with her being a prisoner still, they can't actually sleep in the same bed or anything like that. Regarding our prisoners, we're actually pretty close to being able to start actively recruiting her. We're down to about 9 resistance. Eel is down to about 12, which is still pretty good. I think he started significantly higher than that, like in the 40s. Mole is almost completely broken in terms of resistance. He's down to 5. Kaibo, unfortunately, is still a fairly high number at 38.8, and that's partly because I forgot to set him to work and recruit. For a little while, he was forced to work, so he could have been further along had I not made that mistake. I'm also down a couple of dogs, not because they died, but I actually traded a few of them away for horses. So I have 2 horses right now, and I did keep one of the Newfoundlands that we got last time, but the other 2 I traded along with some wood, and I think it was just like 2 dogs and a bunch of wood, like 1,000 or 2,000 wood, for 2 horses and some pemmicans. So we have these quarter horses here. There's that one, and there's another one around somewhere. I have 2 right now. Oh, there we go. So I've got those 2, and I was feeling a bit stupid for doing that, because not long after, these guys wandered onto the map. So what we're going to try to do is tame all the horses, I guess. Let's do it strategically, though, because some of these are probably more useful than others. What's funny is there are quarter horses, which is not a breed of horse that would have been available to the Romans or anybody for like 2,000 years, because the quarter horse is actually a American horse. And we'll talk a bit about horses in general in just a moment. But I think we're going to start with the mare, because both of the ones I have are male. So I have Targon here, who is a male age 24, and then quarter horse number 2, that's a male age 18. So I think getting a mare would be wise. So let's tame her first. Then we have a male age 6. So if we want another male, I think that one's a pretty good choice because it's fairly young. Another male age 19. A male age 8. So again, if we want more males, there we go. And a mare age 21. I say let's grab both of the mares, and then we'll look at the younger males. Hopefully this wolf doesn't get any ideas, though. So anyways, the quarter horse, not something that would have been available to the Romans or, again, anybody for about 2,000 years, because the quarter horse, or the American quarter horse, was actually a breed that was developed in the British colonies that eventually became the United States. So it was actually a British thoroughbred mixed with a native horse breed, which, and I air quotes I say native because some of you are probably familiar with the fact that horses were introduced, or actually reintroduced, to the Americas by the Spanish conquistadors a couple hundred years before that. But prior to that, there hadn't been any horses in the Americas for thousands of years. However, horses were actually existing in the Americas during like prehistoric times, and as it happens, it's kind of funny, the horses that were introduced to the Americas by the Spanish were actually genetically identical to the horses that existed there in prehistory. And so what's believed to have happened is that the horses that existed in the Americas either migrated into Asia through the Bering Strait and kind of spread out through the Asian continent and into the European continent. And those that didn't migrate in the Americas died off and went extinct. And so the horses that eventually found their way back to the Americas were pretty much the same horses that had left there originally. So kind of a funny little thing there, but there's a lot of archaeology and paleontology and stuff still going into that, I think. So yeah, quarter horse is not something that we should have, but I'm not going to turn down horses just because they're not the right breed of horse for this time period. Just for reference, what the Romans would have been a much smaller horse. And just in general, horses during the period that we're basing this on would have been significantly smaller than what we think of as like most modern horses, or like if we think of a medieval knight on a war horse. Those horses were bred for combat and were much, much bigger. So if you think of like a European destrier or something that a knight would have ridden, those were bred for combat and were massive horses because of it. It turns out that you need to be quite big and strong to carry a man in full plate armor around the battlefield. And so that's partly why cavalry took on such an important role in combat, is because of the advancements in, horse breeding, and also in terms of like saddle technology and stuff. So that's partly why in this time period you see very infantry-centric armies, because the horses were just too small to carry somebody around the battlefield in such heavy armor. Following this time period very closely, so like toward the end of the Roman Empire, and even at the height of the empire, you have, Persian cataphracts and stuff that were, hotly contesting the empire. And that is when we start seeing the transition. Let me at least pan the camera around so you guys have something to look at. But that is when we start seeing the transition into more aggressive tactics with cavalry. But if you look at the early use of cataphracts, they were pretty strict in their use, because it turns out that those horses in the full armor, because cataphract horses were just as armored as the guy on their, back, they typically couldn't ride around for very long. And so what you would generally see is, or here, we can play this a little bit. What you would generally see is like a single decisive charge. They would hold them until the enemy was in a position where they could hit them with a cataphract charge and effectively break them. So they wouldn't commit them before it was absolutely necessary, because the horses and the men on them were just so heavily armored that you couldn't really throw them around the battlefield very much, because the horses would just get exhausted. And so prior to that, what horses typically were used for on the battlefield was like light cavalry, so skirmishing tactics and harassing, stuff like that. Riding down enemies after a rout was another common use. They would still be used in charges to some degree, but not a head-on charge like you might see with like, middle-aged knights or cataphracts or anything like that. They would have, either been harassing the enemy's flanks or attacking them in the back or something like that, but not a head-on charge. And for Roman cavalry in general during this period, what you would have seen is citizen cavalry. So pre-Marian reform, the Roman cavalry was essentially just wealthy landowners bringing their own horses to the battlefield. And that was true of Hellenic forces as well. Following the Marian reforms, the Romans relied pretty heavily on auxiliary cavalry. And that was true pretty much for the entirety of Roman history after that. Oh, cool, we just got another horse. So that was pretty quick. So that's one. Let's jump over here and Mare 1, we're going to say livestock zone. We did pick up a fox, by the way, named Vampire. Okay, so she's gonna run over there. We'll keep a wary eye on this wolf. If we have to kill it, we will, because I'd like to get a lot of those horses. I don't know if I can breed them, because we've tried this before. In the Skyrim playthrough, we were actually going to set up kind of a stud farm. Unfortunately, the horse mod at that time did not support breeding, so you could have horses, but they would never create new horses. I don't know if that's changed. I really hope that it has, because it would be great to be able to breed horses and keep getting new ones. We could sell them, and also, obviously, if we need to go on missions, it's really nice to be able to mount an animal and ride it somewhere rather than having to go on foot. As we've seen in our Jurassic RimWorld playthrough, riding around the dinosaurs is pretty convenient. So, there's your little bit of history for today. Maybe next time we'll talk about the Marian reforms, if that's something you guys are interested in. Obviously this one was just kind of a quick throwaway because it was kind of relevant. But yeah, so early horses, small, and not well suited to combat. That was something that came much later. And the quarter horse that we are now taming is something that came much, much later. But we're going to take them nonetheless. What else? Oh yeah, so speaking of prisoners, I guess this was kind of obvious, but I should still talk about it. I went ahead and after moving... Awesome. This is just working out so well for us. Oh, the one that we wanted... No, one of the... Hold on. You self-tamed? I thought we already tamed you. I'm a bit confused now. So where's the one that we just tamed? There is... So Tarragon and Quarter Horse 2 are the ones we already had up there. Then we have Mare 1, which was the older one. Okay, I thought we got the younger one first, but apparently she got the older one first. So the younger one just self-tamed, which is fantastic. Since horses don't need to actively be fed, I think I will just try to tame all of them, because they can just graze on the grass, so I don't need to worry about... Like with the dogs, I have to feed them something because they need meat. Or meals, but still, that requires effort. Versus with the horses, I just let them graze and it's, you know, completely passive on my part. So, those 4. And we'll make sure that they do get trained for obedience and hauling first. I might rescue train them, but that's not as critical as hauling. And obviously we'll make it so that they can be ridden around, because that's the whole point. And that has really helped with our construction. Being able to ride to the destination with the materials is making Constantine a lot more efficient at his job. Also, putting him in a house that's, you know, really close to where he's working helped as well. But yeah, so with up here, what I did is I just got rid of the other bed that was down here and got rid of the sleeping spot. Put Stilicho in this bed rather than I think he was in this one, and effectively just switched their spots. So these guys are now taking care of all the food for me. I think we have 2 prisoners actually that are pretty passionate about cooking. So Gasiagaba is a 9 with 2 flames, and I think Eel has some passion for it as well. Yeah, 10 with 2 flames. He's also a gourmand. So they've been taking care of all the cooking and stuff for us. Basically, we just throw an animal corpse in here and it's smoked meat before you know it. And the ones that, uh-oh, not a grizzly. Oh crap, is anybody nearby? Great. We might lose our fox here. The predators are becoming a real issue for us. Adius, can you run down here? And let's see, Loka, you might need to harass the bear with your bow a bit. Run, vampire, run. Oh man, he ran you down good. Oh, look at you coming on horseback. Do me a favor and dismount before you get there, because I don't want to lose a horse to a bear. Oh god, he's got vampire stun locked. It's a little bit risky firing into melee, but she's a pretty good shot, so I trust her. 2 for 2. Yeah, get out of there, vampire. Come on, cut him down. There we go. Well, there's breakfast. I'll let Adius clean it up. So, you are dead. Perfect. Can you haul that bear for me? Alright. How are you doing? Oh no, we got your tail. Oh, that sucks. We'll go lie down. We'll get you treated. But yeah, animals have been a real pain. Ah, and the timber wolf. I think that was the one that was down here, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to mark you for hunting. Loka, I'm going to have you prioritize hunting. And Constantine, dismount. Come down here and you're going to intercept the wolf. Don't do that. Stay on that side. Okay. Stay on that side. Start shooting. What's going on here? There we go. Why aren't you shooting? Okay, well, too late. You need to get in there and melee attack, please. Because she's not going to hold up very well melee. Though she's doing a decent job so far. Do you want to move back and start shooting? Cool. Alright, well, there's breakfast again. Can you haul that wolf? Okay, vampire, how you doing? All patched up. Looks like you'll live. Hopefully that's good enough treatment that we don't see any infections. We didn't end up with any on our prisoners, which I was genuinely surprised about. You still need to get patched up, though. By the way, I did add some more recreation variety. That's also going to double as training. So I have these martial arts targets, which are effectively just melee combat dummies. And we're going to turn this into a little training yard right here. So we're going to put pillars in and then throw a roof over it. And what I'm thinking for decoration in the settlement, it's going to be sort of similar to what we did in the Jurassic RimWorld playthrough for our park. Uh-oh. Oh, smoke leaf withdrawal finally got to him, huh? Don't throw that at him. Go with the fist. Melee attack him. Anybody else that can help? Stilico, might need to pull you in here as well. You've got a shield and you're better at combat, so I think you'll be fine. Okay, that went pretty well. 3 punches, you didn't even get touched. Go ahead and equip that and let's throw him in a bed. Okay. Apparently you were beating him with your shield. Fair enough. How's the withdrawal doing, by the way? 81%, so he's still got a ways to go. It's unfortunate, but obviously we're not going to be growing smoke leaf just for him, so I would prefer that he just get over it while he's still a prisoner, and then we don't have to worry about it. Look at Tanya go! You probably shouldn't be wasting medicine on him. I caught it just in time. By the way, here's the lampposts, the ancient lampposts. I'm pretty pleased with them. But anyways, what I was saying is, like the Jurassic RimWorld playthrough, we're gonna have sort of a little border around everything just as decoration. But unlike that one, we're not gonna use the hedges, in part because I can't get them to work. So it was under decoration, I think. Yeah, so these artificial hedges, I've had them build them several times and nothing happens when they do it. It just is effectively an infinite sink for wood because it doesn't even say that there's something there. So right here I've built, I think, 3 of them. And yeah, there's nothing there. So they just keep putting wood in, doing the work, and nothing happens. So I'm not going to use those. Instead, what I'm going to do is we're going to build, or we're going to put in growing zones. And we're going to grow trees. I think with the mods that I'm running, I can plant trees immediately adjacent to each other. So normally if you put down a growing zone for trees, they need a certain amount of space between each tree. And so you can only plant, like, in an area like this, you'd probably get like maybe 10 trees. But I think because of the mods that we've got, obviously they can grow naturally adjacent. I'm hoping we can plant them adjacent, and so I'm just going to run trees along the edges of all the buildings and stuff, and I'll probably do the poplar trees. I think they'd look nice. They also do have a bit of a beauty rating, so they will actually make the area nicer to exist in for the pawns. And we can treat it as a renewable source of wood too, because like crops, they will not last forever. But unlike the berry bushes that we were using in the other playthrough, for example, that period that they will last for is significantly longer. So we don't need to constantly be harvesting them like we would with a berry bush as a decoration. Obviously, wood is not something that we desperately need given the map that we're on, but I still think it would be wise to have a source of wood that we don't need to venture out and get, because eventually we're going to have kind of a buffer around us where there's no trees, because if the enemy has tree cover as they approach, then, you know, our palisades aren't going to be super effective as defense, because they'll be on us before we can even shoot them with a bow or throw a pila at them. So as I've said before, we're probably going to clear cut the forest. I don't know, like, so you come here real quick. Go right there. So from that spot, we would probably want to clear the forest about here. So have all of that clear cut. Now, are we going to be able to do all of that straight away? No, we'll probably do it in stages. So we'll do like this much, and then maybe a little bit more, and then maybe a little bit more. But again, we want to limit the amount of cover the enemy will have, and eventually what I'd like to do is have those sort of hedgehog barriers along here to deter the enemy from trying to attack this way. They will try to pathfind through here, but if we do something that's going to cause them damage, they'll probably try to avoid it and go for the gate instead. Oh, we've got slavers. I've had a lot of traders lately. I don't intend to sell slaves. My pawns won't be happy about it if I do, though in this playthrough it would be kind of appropriate. We'll probably just keep everybody, though. Wow, there's a lot of animal stuff happening out here. But we'll see what else they have to trade. I've had 2 bulk goods traders so far. This is the first trader that isn't a bulk goods trader that we've had. But anyways, we'll have the hedgehog barriers, and then just a little bit out from that, we'll probably connect these 2 bodies of water with a bit of a moat. Well, I say connect, but there will be a gap so that we can, you know, pass through here. And that will get the enemy hopefully to pathfind their way to the gate, and we can focus all our efforts on defending that rather than worrying about them, you know, trying to cross these lower palisades. That's also partly why on the little I'm going to call them towers, but they're not really towers. That's partly why I have the backsides with the taller ones. Even right here, they're taller, so that if the enemy does get in here, they still don't have a free pass into the base. And so I'm hoping that that will deter them from actually trying to get in here, because it's effectively a dead end. Yes, there is another gate that they could fight their way through, but why not just attack this one then, if they're ultimately going to end up in the same position? So I'm hoping that everything that we're going to be doing will deter them from attacking anywhere but the gates, and encourage them to go after the gates, which makes our defensive efforts a lot easier because we can concentrate them wherever we need them to be. Additionally, because they're going to move so slow through this forest, that's another thing we're going to need to figure out, is we don't want the enemy to just go around like that. But because they have to move through this dense forest, and we have, you know, paths through our base, regardless of what side they attack us on, we should be able to get to the defense of that side pretty quickly, because, you know, we're moving through paved dirt paths versus like heavy tree cover. So I think we'll be okay. Stilico, you're going to take a break and come trade with Ape. We could see what quest Daria there has as well, but I'm reluctant to do quests until we have more people, because at minimum for a quest I need to send like 3, and that means I only have 2 people, which means if we have like a prison break, we're just completely out of luck. And yeah, if we get raided, we'd be totally screwed, because we'd have to send our fighters, especially if we're only sending like 3 people. They'd have to be, you know, pretty competent if we're only going to send 3 of them. So I just don't think it's a good idea. until we have a few more. Okay, so you're just selling people. Got it. We have a 7-year-old child. God. Could buy pemmican from them too, but I don't think that's necessary. I don't have enough to buy green, but I could potentially buy somebody else. So let's cancel. I want to see what these people have in terms of skills. I should have paid better attention to their names. Okay, hold on. So Daria the quest giver is one of them. Then we have Kate, Frenchie, Ben, and Green. Daria, Kate, Frenchie, Ben, Green. So Green is right here. Hates dumb labor, which is kind of a deal breaker for me. But kind and trigger happy and with a lot of different passions. I mean, she's somebody that we could find a use for, even though she hates cleaning and hauling. So maybe, but I couldn't afford her anyways. We'd have to figure something out, and that would probably mean in this case trading a prisoner, which I'd rather not do. Here's Kate, the child. Transhumanist and neurotic. Transhumanist is a bit of an issue in this playthrough because I don't have bionics. So it means like giving her a peg leg or something and just accepting that she's going to be kind of terrible. As much as I'd love to rescue her from slavery, I just don't have the ability to like teach her right now. We don't have teachers or anything like that. I think Ben was one of them. Yeah, slave. Not so good at traits there. He's also got a lot of hated work types. Pretty good miner though. Could be a good chef too. Who else was in there? Frenchie was one of them. Hates dumb labor, gourmand, night owl. I think we're gonna pass. As much as I'd love to like save somebody from slavery here, it's just not worth it. Oh, we didn't look at Daria. Daria is a hard worker, creepy breather, tough. It's a shame that she's just god-awful at combat, because tough is kind of irrelevant at that point. If she can't fight, it doesn't really matter that she can take a hit, because she's never going to, you know, win the fight anyways. She's just gonna draw it out longer. Yeah, no, we're gonna say no. We'll go ahead and dismiss them, but in the future we might reconsider. Though, it'll probably be different people they come back with, if they come back, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. By the way, we're making pretty nice headway on our research. Stilico's been doing a pretty good job. I'm genuinely impressed given that this is 5,000 points that we're working through. He's been killing it. What is your intellectual at? 13? Pretty good. So yeah, we'll let him keep working on that because that's going to open up a lot of stuff for us. Okay, we got another quarter horse. Let's make sure that we're actually taming, or not taming, but training these. Again, start with obedience because we have to do obedience first, and then hauling. After hauling, we'll do rescue. I will not bother with release training on horses. I guess I will do it on the Newfoundland though. And as soon as they're trained, I'm again putting them into the livestock area, which is, I think, like this. I might need to expand it now that there's more of them grazing on that area. But we'll just kind of wait and see. I'm trying to keep them nearby so that when the, you know, predators do attack, we have people that can kind of rush to their aid. Eventually, well, I was going to say eventually we can kind of get them in here, but the reason I didn't do that was because all of these trees are going to be gone. We're clear cutting this whole thing so that we can build in it, and so even if I do move them in here, I'm going to have to move them right back out. So it is what it is. Down the line, we can start growing food for them, so like, you know, producing hay grass or even kibble and feeding them that way, building a stable or something, just so that we know that they're safe. But for now, I'm just going to, you know, continue with this. So is this done? I think this is done. At least the walls are. We still need to do the packed dirt flooring and the gate is not finished yet. But other than that, yeah, the palisade is done. So we're looking pretty good here. I would like to, hold on, I want to show you guys the hedgehog things I'm talking about, but in order to do that, we have to go into God mode. I'm not going to build any right now, but that's the only way we can actually see them. So if we go to security, I've got a lot of different ballista as well, and this wooden crossbow thing, which I'm looking forward to trying those. When we have the research finished in order to build those, we'll maybe build like one of each, and we'll do a little bit of test firing and decide which ones we want to keep and use. But these spike walls are what I'm referring to. So what I'd like to do is just have wooden ones. They don't need to be fancy. And we're just going to run them like that. I'll have to destroy that. But yeah, we're going to run them all along here. And they should cause damage. Let's see. Does it say? Beauty is -2. I don't care about cleanliness. Here we go. 11 melee damage. It's not too bad. And it's got 100% spring chance. So it's considered a trap. But it's a trap that always works. And it penetrates armor bit too. So eventually we're going to run those all along this. And we'll have to do them along the front there too, because obviously we want to deter them from attacking that. The issue is we can't build those yet. And I need to figure out what the research is in order to do that. So let's get rid of this. And then we'll go to our research tab, and they were called like what, spiked wall or something? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure where we can find them. I'll have to figure out what mod they came from and just go down the research tree for that mod. That'll probably be the only way we can get it. Because I don't know, like it's not showing up through the search. And it wouldn't be any of this stuff. Most of this we can't touch anyways. So yeah, I'm not sure. But that's something that we obviously want to get. I wish it was available to us already because it's not really complicated. You're just putting wooden stakes together in a certain arrangement. So I feel like we should be able to build those now, but we can't. But yeah, anyways, we're going to do Mediterranean culture, which is going to unlock a bunch of stuff. Then tree sowing, so I can get those poplar trees down. Then Mediterranean agriculture, so that we can basically grow whatever we want. We should do Devil Strand as well. What else? What else? Obviously, we want to be able to start making bows. And armor would be important. More concerned with the first two than this one. We can put that off until much, much later. Machining is something we should do too. Just because I think certain things like those spike traps might end up in this category, even though it really doesn't make sense for them to be that complex. We'll do that just to make sure we have access to everything that we could possibly want. And probably won't go beyond that, really. What are these? Prosthetic heart? Yeah, no, that's too far. Gun turrets aren't relevant. Obviously, we don't need blowback operation or anything. Yeah, none of this. I don't think... Yeah, really anything down here. Nope, probably not. Okay, so we'll have to figure all that out, though. And I'll need to figure out a solution to this, too. What we're probably going to do is just terraform out a little bit so that we can kind of continue the wall and almost have like a... not like a pier. Kind of like a pier. I'm trying to think of what the word is. But we'll just have enough land to build like more defenses out to the deep water, but we won't have land on either side of it. So it'll just kind of jut out into the water. And we'll do the same down here. Again, just to make sure that they don't do what that trading group did and go around our walls. Which apparently was the fastest way, going through the water at 30% movement speed is faster than going through the forest. So we need to make sure that that's not an option, because it is obviously an option that people will take if it's there. Alright, so while everybody's sleeping, I wanted to look at this quest that's been sitting here for a little while. This popped up between episodes, and I'm still not sure that I want to do it, but I figured we'd at least take a look. And since there is still almost 2 weeks left, what I can do is toss it up to you guys, and we can talk about it in the comments of this video, and either decide whether it's something we want to do or not, and then if it is something that we want to do, we can sort of discuss how we might want to go about it. So here it is. Luckily for us, I did set up our base here near a road. So one goal for this playthrough is going to be building a road to connect to this so that we can travel along it. But also, I think eventually we want to make this road into a better road, something like this here, like a proper road. And maybe build other roads to other places, especially if we decide to establish more than a single colony, which is something that we can potentially do. Anyway, we're looking at about a day's travel, and that's going to be on the high end because I think that's assuming we're on foot. I know that's assuming we're on foot. And obviously, if we were so inclined, we could send everybody who we want to send on horseback. So that's something we might want to consider. We'll definitely do that if we're sending people, as we'll send them on horseback. Regarding what we're dealing with, there is a refugee there named Stomp, who is a scientist. That's all we know. We can't see his skills or anything, or her skills. I'm pretty sure it said he, though. Let's see. Yeah, he will die in 14 days. There is 4 enemies there. We don't know what faction they're from. They could be tribals. They could be Spartans. So we have no idea what we're going up against here. And it is unfortunate that it doesn't tell us who the enemy is. But we know that there's 4 of them, so I think we would need to send at least 3. And even that could be insufficient if we're dealing with an elite force like Spartans. So I throw it to you guys. Should we bother trying to rescue this person or not? We do, again, have a couple of prisoners that are not very far off of joining us. Mole probably being the closest at 2.6 resistance. So as soon as that goes to 0, we'll start actively recruiting him. And at 87%, it might take several tries, but it'll happen eventually. Then we have Eels down to 9. You're at 6. You're at 36. So probably be Gassiagaba next. Both Mole and Gassiagaba can fight. He is a warrior, so he is very much a fighter. We'll need to get him a shield and some sort of weapon. I was asked if I could have the people that join us be auxiliaries for a little while before joining the Legion, and I do worry about maintaining like 2 different sets of equipment. But I think that would fit the roleplay quite well, so I'm willing to try it. Therefore, we'll have him equipped a little bit different than Aetius and Constantine, for example. We'll make him look a little bit more tribal, a little bit more Celtic, I guess. We'll give him a round shield and maybe like a more typical sword or spear. And if we do give him throwing weapons, we'll give him javelins rather than pila. And eventually, we'll have him fill into a proper legionnaire rank. Though, our guys now look like, pre-Marian Rome, so he would be like a Hastati or something. Anyway, he can fight, she can fight. She's a little bit more, or a little bit, I guess, less enthusiastic about it, and a little bit more inclined to range combat, so we'd give her a bow. But all in all, she can still, help hold the line if, for example, we decide to leave. If he joined us, it would probably be like Stilicho, Mole, whatever we decide to rename him, and Aetius, possibly. So like our 3 best dedicated fighters, and then Constantine, who is also a very proficient fighter, but somebody who is probably more useful staying back, will lead the defense, but also continue building the fort. And then Loka and Gasiabaga and Tanya can, you know, defend us if we need to be defended. So if things play out in the way that I hope and he joins us well before the deadline for that mission, then I think we're good to go. If not, then we'll have to see. But ideally, they'd both join us with enough time to prepare for this mission, get them a little bit better outfitted. And yeah, with 7 people, all of them at least capable fighters, I would feel a lot better about sending 3 of them off on a mission. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But that's my take. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll try to come up with a good strategy for how to deal with this. I swear I marked these for cutting. I guess not. Yeah, cut all those, please. I'm, again, trying to just create a buffer between the dense trees and our palisade. So I'm trying to, you know, throw down packed dirt, wherever I can, just to kind of push the tree line back. But I think I cut them and then forgot to tell them to put the dirt in, and the trees just grew back. Though those are big trees to have grown back so quick. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll certainly see. I'm wondering if we should start harvesting some of these berry bushes, because there's not a lot of rice here, and there is a ton of meat, as you can see here. I've been collecting, and having the horses really helps with this, because we can get out to grab corpses pretty quickly. But I've been collecting any dead animal that I can find, like this elk, for example. We'll go grab that, and just bringing it back. And again, as soon as I throw it in this room, like 3 prisoners jump on it, chop it up, cure it or smoke it, and then turn it into pemmican. So our food operation is pretty efficient right now, but because we have way more meat than plant products, and because the prisoners can't get to the plant products, it slows us down on the pemmican front a little bit. But they can eat the smoked meat, so that's not really an issue. It's just obviously better if we turn it into pemmican. For whatever reason, they smoke the meat even when they don't have to. Because again, we could just turn it straight into pemmican. It doesn't have to get smoked first. It's just, it keeps for like 4 or 5 weeks versus like, what, 3 or 4 days if we smoke it. So I'm totally fine with them doing that, but they could just take the raw meat and go directly into the pemmican and it would be fine. Oh well. That's another thing. We are not cutting enough stone. There's stone around. There's plenty of marble and limestone right here. I think you're just too preoccupied with... Yeah, see, this is why I don't like him cutting the trees down. Because he gets bogged down doing that, and then he's not crafting. She can do it more efficiently. Though he's not terrible at plant cutting. It's just she's better at it, and outside of taming animals, she doesn't have a lot to do. Well, taming animals and planting our crops, but obviously that only happens every so often. But yeah, he gets bogged down doing this junk, and then we have nobody, you know, making us new stuff. I even asked for a bow to get made, and one of the shields from the other mod. I want to see if these look better. If they do, I'm going to just swap ours for these. But the artwork to me looks better. But yeah, I asked for a short bow so that we can make an archery target. And unfortunately, nobody ever got to that, because he's the only one that's ever going to do it. But I also need him building, so it's kind of a catch-22. I see you there, Mr. Lynx. Don't make me mark you for hunting. But yeah, that thing will cause a problem. I think they're just out of food, and so they come in here. They see my fox, and they want to eat it. Or they see my my domesticated dogs, and they think they can take them. Probably not, but they still mess them up pretty bad, and I don't want that. So, yeah, I think we might have to kill this thing. ATS, you can solo a lynx, can't you? Just go melee attack it. That shield should protect you more than enough. Come on, you got this. Cool. How bad did you get hit? Just a bruise. So you didn't even break the skin with that bite. And do me a favor and haul that inside. But yeah. Gotta deal with them preemptively if you can. Otherwise, you know, somebody like Tanya will get chased down and she's not gonna last in a fight nearly as long as somebody like he would. Because that's not her job. Alright, so good news. The horses are getting busy. So I'm very glad to say that they've added that to the mod. Because again, when we did the Skyrim playthrough, they could not breed. There was just no way. And they appear to be breeding very actively now. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I am very hopeful that we'll be able to just keep, you know, bringing in more and more horses. And we can sell the ones that we don't need. It would be great if we could get different breeds of horse and then interbreed them. But I don't know if that's being overly optimistic. We seem to only be able to get quarter horses right now. So, it is what it is. I mean, just having horses in general is great. And they're such low maintenance too, because again, we can just let them graze. I don't need to worry about feeding them like I do a velociraptor or a dog. So I feel like an idiot. I just went to my security tab and it turns out that the things I've been looking for were actually under smithing, and when we finished smithing, I had access to them and I just didn't even realize it. So these wooden spiked walls we can build, and we probably should. So I'm going to run them all along here, for starters. I'll let those get finished. I really hope that our people aren't stupid enough to hurt themselves on them, but I don't know how that works. Because obviously your people are generally better at avoiding something like a spike trap compared to the enemy, you know, raiders, but you can still accidentally trigger them. These trigger 100% of the time, so I'm a little bit worried that people might impale themselves on these while setting them up. But that's what we want. We're going to do the same along this and along these stretches as well, and then we'll figure out if we want to just wrap them completely around this, or if it's just enough to kind of lay them along the front here as well. But we'll take it one step at a time, I suppose. But yeah, I can't believe I've had those for a while now and I just completely forgot to do it. I'd also like to check out this repeating crossbow, if we could. So we're gonna build it out of wood because it's quite expensive, and it is gonna still take steel and components regardless. We'll put it, where is there more wildlife? I'd like to test fire it against something alive, because I want to see how fast it kills. So, like, where could we lure a bear or a wolf to us? It's like the one time where there's no predators around. I'm thinking maybe this side. God. Okay, let's look at this. So there's a grizzly bear up here. Alright, let's put it in here maybe? That's a little bit messy in there. It'll be fine. Let's build the wooden crossbow right here. Though I do worry it's going to have a hard time firing past that. But anyways, we'll throw one down there. We get it finished, and then we're going to try to lure the bear toward the base and shoot at it with this. And if those are effective, if we're happy with the fire rate and the damage that they do, maybe we'll build a couple more. We could potentially have them in all of these little towers. But I do worry that, again, we're really limiting the field of fire here, because it's got to fire through this one little notch. So I don't know if that means it's only going to be able to shoot straight ahead, or if it's going to give me a little bit of leeway like this. Ideally, we'll have enough where it's got a decent cone of fire, and if we have enough of them, we can overlap them. But it's entirely possible they're going to have very direct lines of fire and nothing else. So I guess we'll see. Alright, I just got notified that Mole's resistance has been completely broken, so he will be joining us hopefully very, very soon. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the reason why I have a stockpile for pemmican here, rather than just having it in there, is because this is technically a prisoner area now, and colonists will not eat food that's stockpiled in prisoner areas. It's considered reserved. So for example, if I tell ATS to try to eat this, it'll say consume smoked meat reserved for prisoners, which means they'll only ever do that if I tell them to do it. So if I put the pemmican over here, then everybody will come and eat it. But if I leave it here, then only the prisoners will eat it, and my people will basically starve to death or try to scavenge this stuff out here. So we don't want that. But yeah, so we made some progress out here. We've got a couple of the traps done. So far, nobody's impaled themselves on them, so I'm very pleased with that. Got to worry about the animals too, because animals are a special kind of stupid in this game. But fingers crossed that they don't hurt themselves trying to go through here. What is this? A vat-grown soldier named Poopy. Oh god. She's being chased by tribespeople from the Pact of Ranyo. She's 10 years old, so she's a child. They will attack us with 2 archers and 4 hunters. Can we hold off 6 tribals? I think we can. So, do we offer her safety? That name, though. God. I say let's do it, and we'll go ahead and let this raid be the end of our episode. We'll have a climactic finish with a battle. Okay, so offer safety. And you're coming from the northwest, though. That's kind of unfortunate. If she had come from this direction, they would have had to deal with our spikes, but they'll probably end up attacking over here where we're still open. It's unfortunate. Were you worth the effort? Kind of. So she's 10 years old, which means she's still got a lot of growing to do. In terms of passion, she's not got a lot of it, but she does really like fighting. So there is that. She's equally capable, but she does have more passion for melee, so she will be a melee fighter. She's a night owl, so she can be maybe one of our nighttime sentries or something. She's lazy. Generally, with people like this, what you do is you put them on cleaning and hauling duty when you don't have them fighting. She's also got innocence because she's a child. But yeah, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to teach her, because I don't really have anybody to do that right now. Stilico is our primary intellectual, and he's a bit busy. But yeah, you need to hustle. Did you have a weapon? No. You're going to go steal some rice? Why not eat the pemmican? Okay. Got a raid. Oh, Eel's uncle is present. So this is a tribe that we have fought before. Ah, all those bows. This is going to be nasty. Though if we can pull them to melee, it'll be an easier fight for us. The issue is I don't have enough people to pull them all into melee. They do have a horse. What kind of horse is that? Just a white horse? They're also riding a caribou, which is interesting. So yeah, let's let them kind of get down here and we'll figure out this mess. I don't have a weapon for you, unfortunately. Actually, I do. It's just not going to be a great one. Why don't you come equip this bronze knife? Or, let's see. DPS is 6.3 with 19% armor pen. Yeah, that's just all around better. So come equip this. And that's one more melee character we have to try to force them to stop shooting at us. I should probably just get ready to square up now. I was going to give it a bit of time, but I think we just need to get everybody ready to fight. The issue being is I don't know where this fight's going to take place. So, you 3, get to like right here. Loka, you're going to need to help us. Tanya, we're going to need your thing as well. And you got to go get your weapon. So hopefully you can get there and back before they get to us. Although that one is trucking on that horse. So let's see. You guys. You 3. Can I get you to engage that person? And maybe everybody else will just kind of flock to the same area. Yeah, that's a nice choke point. Though that kind of helps them more than it helps me. Please don't kill the horse if you can help it. Because I'd like to have that horse. ATS, don't go too far. Oh, you just got shot in the back. Alright, why don't you go attack him? Okay, horse is down. Hopefully the guy is not up for too much longer either. Go ahead and dismount. I need both of you to come over here. And you have your weapon. I need you to come over here as well. Okay, you're down. Let's get you two here. ATS is taking too much damage. We gotta help him out. Alright, you're down. I think my 3 legionnaires are probably gonna just steamroll the enemy. Where can I put you that's gonna provide you with some cover? We don't want to be behind trees because trees kind of suck. But they've taken a pretty good spot behind the chunks. So unless I run her to the wall here, which I guess is doable. Yeah, run over there. Tanya, go... No, that's not gonna work. Crap. Just come over here for now, I guess. You 3, let's start there. And actually, we'll kind of split this up. So you go after that one. You go after this one. And Stilicho, help out there, I guess. We'll take those 2 and then we'll move on to these 2. Alright. Run around to the back. I'd prefer you come over here. Because if we're on this side of the cover, we'll have a much better chance. Alright, so they're fleeing. We downed all 3 of the ones that we engaged without killing them. Question now is, do we want to try to capture any of them? We are about to have some prisoners join us, so we can make a little bit more room. I'd also really like to save that white horse. So could you rescue the horse, please? That's priority number 1. Next, polar bear, a digger. Undergrounder, jogger, chemical fascination. That could be a problem. But otherwise, he does have no real negative traits other than this. But if we just don't keep chemicals around, it'll be fine. But yeah, building, mining, and melee. It's kind of exactly what we need from Legionnaire. And he does have enough range skill where we can give him a Pila and he might get some hits with it. It's not like we have to worry about ammo, so it's not that big of a deal. I think he is a potential worthy addition. We have... Actually, I should check. I keep forgetting I have... what do you call it on? So, like, people can be alive, but effectively dead. God, you almost got your eyes gouged... eyes gouged out. With a gladius, no less. Yeah, you're a mess, but none of that's permanent. I think it's worth trying to save him. Bilarar. Undergrounder with annoying voice. Pretty good fighter. Cooking, crafting. Again, I think that's somebody that's potentially worth trying to save. There's no real negative here. He's annoying, but we just give him a night shift where he doesn't interact with people and should be fine. And he can even be like our night chef, maybe. Or take a night shift in the workshop. What's unfortunate is that he's actually a pretty proficient medic, but he hates doing it. So it's kind of like another playthrough with Gomez, where she's one of the best combat medics we have, but she hates doing it. So I have to manually change her work priorities when I need her to treat somebody, because if I give her, you know, that job, she's going to get pissed off. So I have to be very selective about when I do it. And then Cabriel. Volatile and abrasive. I think this one we're going to let go. Just going to be a complete mess all the time, pretty much. And other than cooking, doesn't really offer a lot. Not without significant build-up. So, do me a favor, ATS. You're actually not that hurt. I thought he was worse off than that. How about you? Not too bad. You're probably worse off. Let's see. Are you worth, like, trying to go after? It's a good fighter. I'm going to say no. We'll just let them flee. Because I probably won't catch most of them anyways. So, let's see. I would like you to grab Polar Bear. I would like you to grab this person here. Oh, great. Right. We'll have to throw down some more beds. So, not structure, furniture. Give me a sleeping spot. Could you please capture this person? And Stilico, I'm going to have you finish this one off. Oh, probably need to keep you drafted for that. And you two can get back to business. You're going to need to do some medicing, though. Where'd the horse go? Are you carrying the horse and we just can't see it? Got it. So children are just kind of buggy in terms of graphics. Understood. If she is carrying the horse right now, we just can't see it. And I pray that we can get these guys treated in time. That one will allow hauling so that we can go ahead and cremate them. What kind of weapon did they have? Short bow. Do me a favor and at least haul that. Oh, you can't. Right, you don't like hauling. Well, we'll get to it eventually, but that will allow me to build some archery targets and also equip people. I don't know if the short bow is better than the recurve. It shouldn't be. But the recurve is, interestingly, the earliest in our tech tree, so I don't know what that's about. So let's see. What's the DPS? Accuracy is also important, but let's just look at flat damage for now. So 14 damage with 21 armor pen versus the short bow. Okay, so it is objectively better than the short bow. So we'll give everybody recurve bows if we can. What we'll probably end up doing is turning both of these short bows here into archery targets. And then once Gaba joins us, we'll give her that recurve bow. I think that makes the most sense. But we need to get everybody patched up and stuff. I'll take care of that off camera though, and we can come back with hopefully a couple of new additions. I will be looking for names for our new characters. I know a lot of you submitted names back in the first couple of episodes, so I'll refer to those first. Because I try to generally do first come, first serve, but I do have a general rule that the names need to be thematically appropriate. They don't have to be Roman names per se. They could be, you know, like barbarian names, because not everybody that's joining us is natively Roman. But they need to be appropriate to the time period. I don't take like screen names or anything like that. We're trying to roleplay, so everybody's got to do their part and all that good stuff. But yeah, so we will take care of this whole mess. I'm going to try to get this horse tamed, and maybe we can... I don't know what will happen if we breed like a white horse with a brown horse. I don't know if we get like a color in between, because I don't think it works that way, but I'm curious to try. So thank you guys so much for watching. I had a great time playing some RimWorld with you, and I look forward to seeing you guys back here for the next episode.